Hello, welcome back to another Swanscast match preview. And I am delighted to be joined by the gentleman from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast, as Swansea will be heading to Watford on the weekend. So welcome all, Justin, Pete and Carl. Glad to have you back. Always one of my favourites of the year. So looking forward to what you have to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was a lovely
intro. Your risk, Luke. That's at your risk.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan, I was going to say this when we obviously just recorded similar thing for your channel, and it'll all be linked and everything below. So if anyone wants to go find that, Pete, do you want to tell us now while we're on the topic where we can find that?
Oh, blimey, yes, that'll be on our YouTube, which is DNSYE_, but we'll be sharing that link with you and your link with us, which is lovely. So you'll be able to, if you go in and have a further peruse around the excellent content of Swanscast, something will turn up where three idiots are talking to Luke about Swansea, and then we go all a bit odd, per normal, and we find out why we've got the best mascots because all the others are rubbish.
And what happens if you put ice in a coffee blender? That's another thing that we find out as well.
Yeah, very niche.
But lots of interesting bits of information in that one. But what I was going to say is, I feel like every time I talk to you, Watford seem to have gone through a little bit of a bad patch, and you always tell me, you haven't told me so much this time, but like you always tell me how we're going to beat you. But like, you've had a good season since we last played, generally. I think when we last played, you were quite down in the dumps about your last manager, because I think every time we play, it's a new guy in charge. So
yeah, of course, it's the new manager.
The last guy, you're quite down in the dumps. He's gone, and I think it improved a bit. But the form, the last three games, has been a bit not as good as it was before. Maybe is that fair to say?
We've fired one manager, so we've only got another 3 to fire this season to go with our normal quota. He was a bit of a nut job. And then we brought in Javi Gracia, who'd previously, depending on who you talk to, had either been the best or the worst manager, depending on whether or not you think getting to the FA Cup final is a good or a bad thing, or when you get there losing 6-0 to the most expensively assembled team ever in Man City at the time, which we did, if you think that's a bad thing. He's quite a pragmatist. I wouldn't say his football is particularly flashy. It's not necessarily been very front-footed for a period. But he came in, he steadied the ship, took a little while to make us look a little bit more coherent. And then it started to look nice. And we had a 4-game run where we won each of the games. But 3 of those were pretty fine margins. But now where we are, and it sounds probably rather entitled, in the last 16 games in the league, we've only lost 2. But we're not doing the bits that we're not playing teams. So we had Portsmouth, and then at the weekend we had a Blackburn team who that was being boycotted by their club. They got injury after injury, and if there was a time to go there and get a result, it was this weekend, and we just simply didn't. We played really well for 25 minutes, went a goal up, and then simply refused to do anything else, even though they equalised 2 minutes later. So a lot of people are kind of a little bit underwhelmed by what he is doing and how he is doing it. We have a number of players who were very excited, very pacey, and you will remember Iran Kunda from a certain free kick that he put away. But you will also remember he's quite a box of tricks, and he's got pace to burn, and he'll go through. Well, no, you can sit on the bench, young man. And he's lucky if he's getting 25 minutes at this moment in time. His bigger, stronger, older brother, effectively in the team, isn't his brother, but Quadro Bar is as close to Adama Traore in his prime as I've seen when he's playing well, because he's big and he's huge. He's a strong lad. He's quick, and he can really destroy teams. And he is getting, if he gets over 5 minutes, it's a wonder at the moment. So a lot of people are looking at Yavi at the moment and the way we're playing, which is a little bit ponderous, far too conservative for a lot of people. But we're also aware that we're not losing. But in order to get into that playoff position, which is something we're aspiring to do, we need to be a little bit more front-footed.
That's kind of music to our ears, I think, with Iran Kunda especially, because I know it was a very good free kick that put you ahead at our place. But I think he just generally had a very good game in that match. And when we did come back into it at the end, and I think we came away thinking that we could have done enough to win, but we didn't with maybe one or two missed chances. I think did Cullen at the post or something as well, maybe or near miss. It only really changed into our favour when he got subbed, is what I was going to say. Like I feel like after he got subbed, all the momentum came to us and we looked like the team on top. But only after that, like that outlet was gone and it just shifted the game. So I'm really surprised to see that he's not really getting any game time, but also equally happy that I hope that continues when we go into the weekend, of course. I think that would be good for us because I'd worry a little bit about maybe our defence up against him again. I think he probably could do some damage.
Well, the bad news for Swansea is that we had a player who got an injury, Rocco Vata, who plays kind of wide left, cuts in on his right. He's a bundle of fun. He has been out for about 3 months, and they brought him back in. He played about 45 minutes against Portsmouth, and then at the weekend we started him, and after 33 minutes he went down with his hamstring, which is what he's been out with, but apparently this is, whilst it's the same leg, is an entirely different form of hamstring injury. Personally, I think that's utter rubbish. He's basically been brought back, so it might be that we see that we might see him be brought back in because he can play naturally on the wide left. But instead of that, we brought on Chakfatadze, who isn't really a left winger. He's more of a sort of a left-sided central midfield attacking midfielder, so to speak, so that again we could make sure that Iran Kunda had no influence until there was about 25 minutes to go, inexplicably.
Well, fair enough. Well, yeah, like I said, I hope that he isn't starting, but like, okay, so compared to maybe what we saw earlier in the season then, and like you've mentioned, there's a new manager in charge, and it's quite a regular thing when we talk to each other, but like what play style will be expected? I know you said it's quite pragmatic, but how do you think you'll set up, and what can we expect to see in the game, like on the pitch?
Very few goals, probably. I would say we've got a number 9 who doesn't particularly like scoring at the moment, and I think the goal against, was it Pompey? He's sort of pulled away from the header, and we've scored off the rebound. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one in terms of setting up on Saturday. I assume it will be what we've been playing for pretty much most of the season this season, which was going to probably be a 5 at the back. Is it 5?
Well, no,
four at the back, but
yeah.
It's
somewhere between a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-3-1. On Saturday he played. You just mentioned there one of our forwards. He got a decent header which got cleared off the line, I think, by your captain when we played. He's not bad if you deliver the ball to the back of the defence for him to try to head when he's deciding to head the ball. But we don't tend to do that an awful lot. He's good when you deliver the ball, actually, ironically, from behind him, which was like that Boller putting a ball from behind him and then in front, and he does okay. But all of our forwards are very, very young and inexperienced, and therefore, when we played Millwall the other day, which was the worst of the most recent games, that's unfair. Millwall were comfortably the best side that we have played in terms of organisation, structure, and also showing us why it is that we've got the youngest squad in the division, and they are missing some leadership, some strength elements to it, and some experience, because they are by definition young. So we'll play a 4-2-3-1. You'll see Loser and probably Hector Cipriano sitting in front of a back 4. We've lost also some centre backs recently. So previously we were playing Max Elaine, but he's gone back to Manchester City, and we'd also play with Matty Pollock, who is well, put it this way, he's certainly the most admired championship defender on Millwall's radar. They would love to have him. He, kind of gives you an idea of it. He's an old-fashioned centre half who kind of heads it clear. And then when you see, because he didn't play on Saturday because he was out, and we had a Banqua and Kevin Kebben, you really saw the power of having somebody who's prepared to go and put his head on it and head it away. Instead, we sort of cower a little bit, which is sort of odd, and do some strange things in possession. And then you'll have the three across the front line, so to speak, behind almost definitely, I would suggest, Kieran Gard. He's been playing the other, or he did on Saturday, the other forward called Mamadou Doumbia. He played him in the hole effectively. So we can play 4-4-2 if he goes up and pushes up a little bit more, as we sort of tried to do in the first 25 minutes quite effectively. Got the ball down, played it wide, got deliveries into the box. Or he might play a little bit deeper, and then we're going 4-2-3-1, at which point we basically seem to declare that we don't really want to create very much at all, seemingly. That's how
Will Loser be playing, though? Because he missed the last game, didn't he?
Loser will be playing. Yes. Yeah, he was he was out supposedly having failed a fitness test. He has played an awful lot of football. He came in for considerable, how shall we say, attention, shall we say, by Millwall. Which none of which got pulled up by the ref, and fair enough. They kind of knew where to work him, and he was seemingly rested. Transfer window. I'm not saying a word.
I was going to say, I'm sure I've seen some links. Is that?
Yeah, my understanding is things were being considered, but it looks like he will be playing, and I don't think he will be moving on. It looked a little bit closer on Saturday morning.
Fair enough.
You guys.
So I was going to ask, like, where the goals are going to come from. Who are the main danger men? Like, obviously, we would have assumed Iran Kunda, and I just wanted to say, Lee, the other guy on a podcast that speaks with us, he said after being at the match earlier this season that Iran Kunda was the best player in the league that he has seen down the stadium. And you could tell how he came from the Bayern Munich academy, and that he was basically a bit of a cheat code and ridiculous that you were able to sign a player like that. In awe, basically. But if it's not him, who's it going to be?
Well, I disagree with that. Firstly, I'd say he's a player with a lot of potential, hell of a lot of potential, but decision making and I don't want to say attitude, but maybe.
There's some petulance there, I think.
There's a bit of petulance there about him, yeah. Which, look, you need to be a quality player. I think you need a little bit of arrogance, 100%. But there's something off with him. He had a bit of an excursion mid-season as well, where he kind of not disappeared, but there was all sorts of rumours. So I don't feel he's fully on board with the project, shall we say, but a player of great quality. Imran Loser.
Bit of attitude problems.
Maybe. Imran Loser for me.
He's very young, and he's 15,000 miles away from home, or however far away.
Yeah, and he's never played, I would say, this level. People say he's come from the Bayern Munich academy, but he's never played at this level. So I think there's a lot of learning going on as well. If we can nurture him and keep hold of him, we do have a hell of a player on our hands there. But for me, Imran Loser is probably the best midfielder in the division. I'd go out on a limb to say that. We lack goals, as Pete's just said. I think it's our goals are going to come from midfield. But yeah, if Imran Loser plays, he's a danger man. Fata, if he was fit, would be a danger man for me. And we have a player that is proven at this level that we for whatever reason, again, who we haven't even mentioned yet, is Bar, who again can't seem to get a look in. And he's a player. If he could get a run of games under him, you wouldn't even be mentioning Renkunda to us with Bar personally. But yeah, if Loser's playing as Pete's suggested, then he's the danger man for me because he makes it tick. He opens doorways for people. So he's the one.
There are also other strange games where Ngakia will score 2 or Tom Ince will score a hat-trick. So you never quite know. When
you never know.
I'm surprised to see Tom Ince still in the starting lineup. Is he?
We all are.
Doing all right?
Yeah. Well, I saw an interview the other day at Sky where he was with his dad. I think Paul Ince was Wolves manager or something at the time. Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
No, in fairness, he's done really well. He is not going to play every game. He shouldn't start every game. And he is a player who, and it's not his fault, but he's somebody who is seemingly preferred because of his defensive capacity in the second line of attack. Now, for me, if you're concentrating on the defensive capacity in your second line of attack, you are not playing to players' strengths. You're playing, or to the squad's cumulative attacking strength. You're playing to try to get control of the ball in order to do absolutely nothing with it. This is where the kind of looking at Yavi, even though he's done well for us previously, it's not universally everybody behind him. There's a lot of people who are saying, he likes to play inverted wingers, and he likes those wingers to ideally not be wingers. When he did this thing with the same sort of formation when we were in the Premier League, he had, if you remember him, Roberto Pereira, who's a sort of attacking midfielder, and he played Will Hughes. We bought Will Hughes and we used him as an inverted right winger. And of course, he couldn't go down the right, so he had to go in front. And we basically kind of ended up everybody kind of coming in and converging and almost turning it into a 4-2-2-2 with all the width that implies. So it was a bit difficult. He's now got wingers who can go down the outside, but he doesn't seem to want that. He wants them to be able to do the ugly stuff and concentrate on doing that. The difficulty is with that is because we talked about Kiramgard at the moment there. He's like a lot of young, tall players who've scored a lot of goals. He happens to be 6'4", but where he has done really well at Odense in Denmark before he came across to us is he basically knows where to be and in the right place. The fact that he's 6'4" is actually not an awful lot to do with where he gets his goals and how he gets his goals. It's about positioning, knowing where he is, and getting on the end of little sort of tap-ons or tap-ins or what have you. And we have the same thing. We're kind of like we're playing to people's weaknesses rather than their strengths. So he's having to learn to play in the Championship with his back to goal as a single forward, which is not what he's really done before. He tended to be before we got him. So there's an awful learning curve and a lot of experience having to be gained. I think, and I've said a number of times, I think we might have a really good season or a really good team next year with the benefit of this particular experience. But at the moment, it's not quite coming together. And we're a bit like you when we spoke to you, Luke, and you were saying that a number of games, last season were being won by very thin margins. When we won our 4 straight games and everybody all got a little bit carried away, they were very thin margins, with the exception of the Birmingham game where the aforementioned Tom Ince scored a hat-trick and everybody went, this isn't right. There's something going on here. This is clearly not reality. So no, he's done a good job, but we still need to get a little bit more front-footed and a little bit more attack-minded for my liking.
Quite similar themes there, and to bring it up again, you mentioned that perhaps you didn't agree with what he said about Ian Kunda. To be fair to him, you only saw 60 minutes of him, and he's comparing him up against Ronald, who we see week in, week out, and with what you've just mentioned with why Tom Ince is in the team, Ronald is pretty much the same sort of thing. So he's there, we think, for his pressing and abundance of energy. He'll just run and run and run, and the press is a massive part of Matos's game now.
Yep.
And he's just really good at that, but maybe not as productive when we win the ball back. And his numbers and his output are the final third are not where they should be, and he's come under a lot of criticism for that this season. So I think, in Lee's defence, he's on his last straw with Ronald specifically, and just our wingers in general. So I think seeing someone from another team on that day who had such a good game, he was just like, that's what we need.
I think his point about Aaron Kunda and Carl's are both correct. He is, but you have to add in the word potentially, because we've got these young players. Everybody says, the Bayern Academy. He wasn't. He was at Sydney playing in the A-League, and he was carving it up because he's got a blistering shot on him and he's really, really quick. He went to Bayern, was there for about 6 months, then he went on loan to Grasshoppers of Zurich, and then he came to us. He's been there very little, but they do know and they have spotted what he's got. They just haven't quite utilized it a lot. So potentially it's there. It's about, as with all young players, it's about getting regularity of that potential being realized, rather than him coming in. And he scored, ironically, that free kick at your place, he scored a similar one the following week, and we were all going, what have we got here? And he hasn't scored a goal since, and he's had a couple of assists, I think, maybe in the interim period, but he kind of just went off the boil. But he's young, and that will come back. So potentially he's not yet. For us, Imran Louza is definitely the actual man who's producing week in, week out.
Not even Dave then? He's not.
Dave.
No, Dave, not Dave.
Actually,
No.
no, he's Dave.
Yeah, not Dave. Now he's not injured. We need him back and firing on all fours as well. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a great example, Dave, or Georgie Chakfatadze. For anybody who's not aware, you can understand why we call him Dave. All last season, he got 2 goals and 2 assists. But all that he does, and he looks fantastic, and he'll come away with the ball and he'll run it up, and we'll get 40 yards possession. If he was a rugby union or rugby league player, oh my God, he'd be worth a fortune, because he just moves transit. But we then would go up there and then don't actually create off of the back of it. So he's again another one who is still, and he's in his later 20s. I think it's 26, something like that.
Yeah.
He needs to start delivering on that potential. We've got a lot of that, and in fairness, Watford is a place that gives these guys a chance to create. The problem is, once they do start delivering it, we'll see how much we can get for him.
Yeah, we're exactly the same, to be fair. Any business in the transfer window so far or expected?
Oh, yeah, we have. We've signed. I'm going to cock his pronunciation up now.
Eduardo Bove.
Yeah, ex-Roma player, not allowed to play anymore in Italy due to a heart issue. I think we've signed him on 6 months.
Well, he's not allowed to play there because of his health, but you can play elsewhere.
Italy has different rules to the normal world, and basically because he's had a heart. Was it a heart attack
He had a heart attack. He played for Roma, was really loved with them. He's a box to box, will kind of contest the ball, really high energy. All these things when you have a heart attack sound like, oh my God, high energy. That's the last thing we want. And he played about 15 games for Fiorentina on loan, because the previous manager was Jose Mourinho, who thought the world shone from this young lad. The next manager came in and decided, because he was the previous manager's person, he didn't want him. He went to Fiorentina, and about 15 months ago, basically went down with a heart attack on the pitch, very much like Ericsson, very much like Tom Lockyer, our local rivals. The laws in Italy, it's not that he can't play; he cannot play whilst he has a defibrillator fitted. He has a fitted defibrillator. So if anything happened again, it starts his heart immediately. The daft thing about the Italian rules is they could remove it, which puts him at greater risk, and then he could play. There's nothing in the rules to stop him, but they won't have it, because as far as their sporting and legal rules concerned, a fitted mobile defibrillator is not conducive with performance sport. Go figure. So he has to go and play elsewhere. The reason why Ericsson is played in England, went and plays in Germany all the time. So we've picked him up. We've signed him on. The first suggestions were it was a 6-month contract or till the end of the season, and then with a 5-year option. But the reports are now that he signed a 5.5-year deal. I would suggest that is probably semantics. He's probably signed a 5-year deal with a number of clauses that, should anything materialise, that there is a lower than anything risk on Watford financially. It's much more about giving the guy the platform. He seems genuinely excited in terms of coming to England and playing. One of his best mates is Calafiori, who plays for Arsenal, and we have Arsenal's old training ground. It's literally just over the fence. So there's a lot of convenience for it, and he's a hell of a player, providing that he can get over his heart condition. But we only signed him last week. He hasn't played for 14 months, so I don't think he's going to be bothering Swans fans too much this weekend. I think reports are he's fitter than probably was expected, because he's a very naturally fit lad and he's been training with Roma. But as we all know, match fitness and fitness, 2 different things entirely. Plus the fact he's then got to come up to British speed, then work out what the championship's all about.
So it's sort of like good deal for you if he can get back to that form, but then like maybe a gentleman's agreement if he does hit those heights, quality his way of moving on as well.
It's a quality bit of business if it pans out, from our point of view.
It was met with the usual Watford hyperbole. I saw it from afar, and it was just,
it's everywhere.
Can we just stop now? We know we've signed him. Here he is turning up on his first day of training. Here he is putting a shirt on. Okay, we get it. We signed him. Move on. You know what I mean?
The difficulty with him is we do have some areas where, and one of the reasons why I think the team is looking problematic at the moment is because Javi Grazia will select the players that he wants to play, and they will play all the games. And he has not used the squad rotation in order to keep people as fit as you might want to have. And just in terms of, kind of both our fullbacks are being basically flogged to death all the time. So effectively, what we need is either for him to actually play the alternative right back, who's more of a right wing back in Petrus, or a left back. And the problem with getting Bove, it's we really need an experienced forward. We do need somebody in midfield, probably as a bit more of an enforcer, a fullback and a centre back. And what we've gone and done is go and buy somebody who's an absolute prime level midfielder from Serie A. It's a little bit like basically being sent to Morrison's to go and get bread, milk and cheese and coming back with an Xbox. It's like, it's fantastic and we'll all enjoy it. But it's got absolutely nothing to do with what we actually need this season.
I was wondering when to say that, but I wouldn't expect an Xbox. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, so, and if you went shopping in Swansea,
what a segue, everybody.
I know the answer to this question in previous years was always Matt Grimes, but you can't say that anymore. So I'm interested to see who is it going to be now.
Your top goal scorer, please. We'll have some goals.
Yeah. I'd have
Potnik is on the shopping list then, with the Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we miss somebody who can, one, run in behind, secondly, use decent movement, and thirdly, can sniff a goal. I appreciate that, especially after your last game at Hull, that you'll be thinking, well, he could have scored more than that.
He's earned a miss, I think, but it's annoying. But I think you've got to let him off.
Recency bias, that's all it is, But
exactly.
No, he was problematic. I loved his little bit of movement for the goal against us.
That was a great finish. It was very tight angle, I believe. Yeah,
it was a really tight angle, and he started off on our fullback. On our right fullback, moved across both centre backs, and then nipped in front of the left back. If I remember, it might have been in front of Abankwa, but all of them were ball watching, and he was opportunity sniffing, and he scored it really well. Yeah, have him all day.
I believe he came off. Did he come off the bench in that game?
I think so. I thought he played. I thought he started.
Maybe he did. I know earlier in the season he wasn't starting. Obviously, we said to you and yours about Adam Eder being brought in, and he was kind of having a point to prove. Let's have a look. No, yeah, Cullen started. So this was one of that period where he wasn't starting earlier in the season. So Cullen was starting up front. What was the date of this then? It was quite early, wasn't it?
It was quite early.
August, yeah. So I don't think we'd signed Eder at this point. So Cullen started, Potnik was on the bench. He came on and scored. And I think I said about his celebrations when we spoke earlier, saying it was kind of like, I'm here, why are you going to buy another striker for? And I believe this was one of them where he was on a run at that point of scoring in like 5 or 6 games in a row, including international. And I think this was within that period, one of the earlier ones in that period, I think. So that was the early days of him kind of getting on the way to the season that he's had. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, we
not having him.
We like that. We like that. Somebody with a little bit more experience than we've currently got. As I say, in a year's time, hopefully, because we've got 3. They're what 20? I could be out slightly. 22, 20, and 19. So it's not like we can go right. Well, let's throw on the experience forward at with 20 minutes to go to try and do something. It's more of the same. So often it breaks down. As Carl mentioned, the goal against Portsmouth was because he was going up for a header and basically bottled out of it. Yeah, the keeper went over and spilled it. Yeah,
for Potnik's only 23 himself, mind, which I don't know if that's surprising to know or.
He's a lot more convincing than anything we've got currently. Definitely on what I have seen. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, he obviously played for Bordeaux before. I believe they were in top league in France or second league at the time when they went into financial difficulties.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Administration.
Yeah, and obviously, he's got 22 caps for Slovenia as well, so he's got a bit of experience about him. But yeah, okay. So can I push you for a prediction? You can give me one each if you want to see what you think the result's going to be going into this one.
I'm going to stick with what myself and Carl went with on ours, which is a 1-0 defeat to Watford. I think Swansea might nick it 1-0.
I'm going to be more hopeful, and I'm going to say I think it'll be a 2-1 Watford win. I reckon Vipotnik will score, and then they'll bring on Bove, who will prove his fitness after 18 months out and score 2, both overhead kicks. Maybe not.
Oh, what a game!
Wow. Okay.
That'd be fantastic.
Head to head, 23 games. Watford have won 9. Swansea have won 9. 5 draws. I'm going to go a 0-0 draw.
Oh, whoa, we're going to turn out for that. I can't wait.
0-0. When was the last time either team didn't score in
Oh, cool. That's going to be a while back.
That's going to be a while, because basically, yeah, we did. We loved Matt Grimes, and we've got some good friends who are Coventry fans, and they absolutely love him. When we were talking to them, and it was all going well.
It depressed me now.
Yeah, I know. But and we said, kind of, how is it going? And they were kind of going, no, we're only a few games away, but we're only a few injuries away from it going wrong. But there's one player that if he's out, it'll all go wrong. And we were expecting them to say Rudoni.
22nd of the 10th, 2016 in the Premier League. Swansea 0, Watford 0.
Was that the one where Valon Barami got sent off?
10 years ago.
Yeah, that's the last
Yeah, I
one.
remember that one. Now, our technical director, if you get sent off against Swansea, we give you a high position.
You get a high job, yeah.
Feel honoured, people.
They'll all be going for it. Sorry, what was to say about Grimes then? You didn't.
No, we thought they were going to say a lot more. Should we say highbrow positions or attacking positions? And they just said no. Matt Grimes. Everything we do flows from Matt Grimes.
The positive for them is he very rarely misses a game.
Yeah,
even injuries, like he just didn't get injured. He wasn't ever unfit enough to not play. I think he was 4 years straight. He basically started every game for us or something silly. So he's top of the league. Look, I loved him when he was down here, and I wouldn't begrudge him getting to the Premier League if it's going to be with someone. At least I'd like to see him get there at some point. So,
and he's of that age where he's probably not going to get a move to the Premier League.
No.
He's going to probably have to go up. With Coventry. So
and the way he left didn't go down very well, I'll be honest. So people listening to this probably listening to me and shouting at me right now on the other side of the screen. But whatever the reasons were, he's top of the league now, isn't he? So you can't. I don't think you can begrudge that. To be honest,
was that because you could see it if he made a move to a considerably bigger club, but he went to Coventry? It felt like a sideways step at the time.
I think stuff happened behind the scenes that we probably aren't savvy about the ins and outs, the proper detail. It was a bit weird. He literally had just bought the forever home with his partner. Mm-hmm. They moved. His partner's in-laws came down to move in with them as they raised in their family, and I think we're sticking here now. I'm going to retire here. He did an interview a couple of weeks before the move, saying how happy he is, and he only won the club he wants to get promoted with, and he's the captain, and he'd been there for a long time. He talked about this house and the fact that this all happened, and out of the blue he went. And obviously Luke Williams didn't. He followed suit a couple of weeks later, so it was a bit of a bad time for us last season when he went. We just got into some bad form. There was a really poor management of Luke Williams regarding transfer rumours of himself when he got linked to the manager job at West Brom, which is why our season got derailed. And when I say derailed, proper derailed. And within that couple of weeks is when it kind of all happened, and including Grimes leaving. I'm sure he even signed a new contract earlier that season. So it was very out of the blue. I'm sure maybe one day in an autobiography we'll find out the ins and outs. But I guess Frank Lampard being a manager, and with his history, when he comes calling headhunting a midfielder like that, and then a year later you see the result of it, it's hard to argue. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Obviously, there will be there'll be Swansea fans who are kind of thinking that there's various positions to blame. But it seems to me there's obviously it's a real telling indictment on Matt Grimes' in-laws. They come down and then he's off to Coventry. Clearly on one party to blame there.
Yeah, I think they all still live here by all accounts, so maybe he'll be back down here when he's retired.
He's put them down there and then buggered off to Coventry.
Yeah, no, genuine. But this is why I think everyone was so confused about the situation. I think
he's my biggest hero if he's done that to his mother-in-law or something like that. That's amazing.
It says so much more about your family relations than it does Matt Grimes.
Yeah, maybe. But there we go. That's that anyway. I'm sure there's probably some angry comments right now, but it is what it is. Okay, well, thanks as always for joining me on this video. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Can you maybe, I know all the links and stuff will be there, but do you want to just remind everyone where we can find you, all your social medias, all the rest of it?
Yeah, we're everywhere, really. Just look up DNSYE or Do Not Scratch Your Eyes. We are on YouTube. We're on X. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. Yeah, so, yes, if you want to follow us, then please do. It'd be great to have you coming along.
And for everyone that wasn't aware, Justin's just been on holiday to the Gower. So
I have, yes. I've been to the Gower. They misspelled it on the ticket.
He's got jet
and
lag.
Gower. Yeah, I've got jet lag. Yeah, yeah. So I'm extremely tired. If you see me yawning throughout the video, I've tried to stifle it, but that's why I'm a little bit jet lagged.
Yeah, well, no, it's definitely get jet lag coming down here. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
The
M4.
beaches.
A mumbles, it's
About
that
12
too.
hours on that. Yeah, never mind.
But no, thank you very much. As I said, all the links will be in the description. I think there's going to be a collab thing, so hopefully you won't need the link and it will just pop up on your
Just see us.
For You page or whatever it is on YouTube or when you're scrolling along. But go check it out. It's always a good laugh. As was mentioned earlier, some tangents, let's say, but unmissable tangents. So I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Let's
And
write this
on that
down.
note,
No, we want that
cool.
to be. We want that to be a quote. Unmissable. Was it unmissable tangents, Luke?
Yeah.
From
put it on a
Swanscast?
t-shirt.
That's
Yeah. That needs to be on the Google
Yourself.
review, I think.
Yeah.
Also,
But yeah,
Excellent
thank you
stuff.
very much. And hopefully I'll see you next season. But obviously you're going to be hoping that maybe you push on a little bit and get to the playoffs. And
No. We're quite happy here.
No?
We'll stay here. No.
have we given you any thought that we might actually go up? If we have, we've done a bad
We
job.
apologise.
Sorry.
Nice.
I'm excited to see who you're going to tell me your manager is next time I speak to you. So
exactly that.
Hang on, I'll put it in my diary for the end of February. There you go.
we should all every time we do one of these videos make a bet on who the next Watford manager is going to be and see. You could do like your prediction game, but make it that and then see if how that goes.
It's becoming like when they say you're in London, you know more than like a metre away from a rat. It's basically you probably know more than a metre away from an ex-Watford manager currently.
Or the
It's
next
getting that
Watford manager.
Or the next Watford manager for
Yeah.
that instance, yeah.
Yeah.
We never
There we
know
go.
what they're like. It's just a constant source of excitement for us. Who could it be?
But as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, all the rest of it. And I shall catch you on the next one. And these gentlemen, I'm sure, will be back next year. So have a good one, everyone.
Cheers,
Cheers.
guys. Safe travels.